High above the industrial city of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, America's most powerful men were building their own private paradise. In 1879, steel magnate Andrew Carnegie joined forces with industrialist Henry Clay Frick and banking titan Andrew Mellon. Together, they formed the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, an exclusive retreat for America's elite. The centerpiece of their mountain paradise, a massive artificial lake held back by an aging earthen dam. The South Fork Dam had been built decades earlier. Now these millionaires would modify it for their pleasure. 14 miles downstream lay Johnstown, a bustling steel town where 30,000 people called home. These weren't just workers. They were families. Mothers, fathers, children, playing in narrow streets between cramped tenements. While Carnegie and his friends enjoyed luxury fishing and lavish dinners, ordinary families struggled below. The club members traveled in private rail cars. The workers walked through muddy streets to 12-hour shifts. Up on the mountain, members caught bass and trout in pristine waters. Down in the valley, families drew water from polluted wells. The wealthy club members never imagined their paradise could become Johnstown's nightmare. They had no idea that their modifications to an old dam would soon unleash unimaginable horror on the innocent people below. If you're finding value in this, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. For 8 years, warnings echoed through the valley below the South Fork Dam. Starting in 1881, engineer after engineer raised the same terrifying alarm. The dam was structurally unsound, a disaster waiting to happen. But the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club had other priorities. They lowered the dam's height by 2 feet to accommodate a carriage road across the top. They removed the original discharge pipes that controlled water levels during floods. Most dangerously, they installed fish screens across the spillway. These screens would trap debris, creating a deadly bottleneck during heavy rains. Daniel Morrell, Johnstown's iron magnate, desperately tried to inspect the dam himself. The club refused him access. Their privacy mattered more than public safety. Local officials pleaded with club members to allow proper repairs. Every plea was dismissed, every warning ignored. The millionaires prioritized their fishing and boating over 30,000 lives below. By May 31st, 1889, 8 years of warnings had fallen on deaf ears. Now nature would deliver the final judgment. 3:10 p.m., May 31st, 1889. The moment that would transform a thriving industrial town into a graveyard. The South Fork Dam didn't just break, it completely disintegrated, releasing 20 million tons of water in a catastrophic explosion of nature's fury. A 60-foot-high wall of death began its race toward Johnstown. 40 miles per hour of liquid destruction carrying everything in its path. Trees became battering rams. Houses transformed into missiles. Even locomotives were swept up like toys in this unstoppable torrent. The Fenn family heard the roar first, a sound like 1,000 freight trains bearing down on their home. They had minutes to escape, racing up the hillside as their neighbors' screams were swallowed by the approaching thunder. 6-year-old Gertrude Quinn was swept from her family's arms. The flood claimed her parents instantly, leaving her alone on a floating roof. For hours, this little girl rode the waves of destruction, watching entire families disappear beneath the merciless water. The wall of water slammed into Johnstown's heart. Buildings that had stood for decades crumbled like paper in seconds, 4:07 p.m. In just 57 minutes, downtown Johnstown had been completely obliterated, wiped from existence. 99 entire households vanished without a trace. Families who, when dawn broke over Johnstown, the true horror revealed itself. 2,209 people were confirmed dead. But the nightmare was far from over. Among the victims, 396 were children under age 10. An entire generation wiped away. 777 victims would never be identified. Families torn apart, names lost forever. But the killing wasn't finished. At the stone bridge, debris had created a massive dam. Trapped in this mountain of wreckage were survivors. Still alive, still screaming for help. Then someone's oil lamp ignited the debris. The entire mass erupted into flames. George Metz watched helplessly as his wife and 6 children burned alive before his eyes. Hundreds more perished in those flames. A second wave of death that could have been prevented. Clara Barton arrived with the American Red Cross, their largest disaster response to date. While heroes rushed to help, the South Fork Club members retreated to their mansions. They hired the best lawyers money could buy. Their message was clear. Despite their clear negligence, they would pay nothing. Not a single penny in reparations. The law protected the rich. But would justice ever find them? With over 2,200 dead, America demanded answers. Who would pay for this preventable catastrophe? The investigation revealed damning evidence. The South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club had violated every principle of dam safety. Engineers testified about the club's reckless modifications, the lowered spillway, the clogged discharge pipes, pure negligence. But the millionaires had a legal shield. Their lawyers invoked the act of God defense. According to this precedent, natural disasters absolved property owners of responsibility, no matter how negligent their actions. The club members faced no criminal charges. Not one millionaire spent a single day behind bars. Desperate families filed civil lawsuits. But Carnegie, Frick, and their fellow club members had unlimited resources. They hired armies of lawyers, used political connections, buried survivors in endless legal proceedings until they gave up. Every single lawsuit failed. The victims received nothing. The perpetrators paid nothing. But Johnstown's sacrifice wasn't entirely in vain. The disaster shocked America into action. Congress passed the first federal dam safety regulations. No longer could millionaires modify critical infrastructure without oversight. The disaster also revolutionized emergency warning systems. Today, millions of Americans are protected by flood alerts born from Johnstown's tragedy. Most importantly, Johnstown changed corporate liability law forever. The act of God defense could no longer shield gross negligence. From the ashes of injustice rose a safer America. 2,200 lives lost, but millions more protected. If this opened your eyes,